And Douglas wants to blame me for that. Douglas' plan is to undermine me and to marginalize my constituency because he believes that will put the people against me. That will never happen. We have a love affair. I remember, well, Volin them could tell you, the playing field, I selected personally with the help of the constituents, the different locations. You see where we build them houses down in Boys and the seaside? That was one of the places we wanted to put the playing field. After discussion with Calvin Esdale, Calvin told me, he said, boy Sam, that is going to be too expensive. I will recommend that you get something as flatter lands. That is why I decided I'm going to build those houses there. Thank you. So we went and we identified a new spot. We went up there. We went up by Fairview and we decided that that is where we want to build the playing field. We did everything, a costing. We had the plans. We had the plans. We had the costing for it. They had a problem with getting the money. BNB said, I will start to do the work without pay. They want nothing better than that. He said, that is my community. That is my community, and I will work without pay until I find the money to pay me. Up to now, the playing field can't be done. Willful, deliberate, calculated, meant to undermine me. The same thing with the Limekeel playing field. We had done all the work on the Limekeel playing field, had the plans, had the costing, went down in public works, asked the director of public works, well, the former director, he knows about those projects. I have files big on those projects. We're waiting for the money. Waiting for the money. And several times he has told my constituents, not even me personally, my constituents, several times. He said he's going to get the money. He said SIDF money, Taiwanese money, all kind of money was supposed to build the playing field. Up to now, after 18 years, he can't build the playing field. Rubbish. Thief for money. Anybody could thief money in government? The money in the treasury. And so that is what has happened. That is what's been happening in the constituency. In fact, one day, Volin called in to a program, asked the Prime Minister. She said, Prime Minister, when we going to get the playing field? That is after he done tell them several times, you know. At a meeting down in Boyd's, he said on the platform, when Volin asked him about the money for the playing field, he said, I brought it back from Taiwan. And I'm going to build the playing field. He said that on the platform, I was there. And up to now, we can't get it. It is those kind of things. I haven't been speaking about them because I don't like to speak about them. They're hurtful, unnecessary. I remember at a retreat with Professor Neville Duncan. Neville Duncan asked me, Sam, what is bothering you? I said several things, Professor. One of the things bothering me is that after 18 years, my people waiting on a playing field. The professor said, tell the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. He said, oh, you're making joke. He said, Sam Condor, the Deputy Prime Minister, waiting for 18 years to get a playing field in the constituency. He said, Prime Minister, oh, you're making joke. Oh, you're making joke. That is unthinkable. That is what he said. Nobody could believe that. With the foolish excuses. But when Volin called into the program and asked him about the playing field, he tell her, ask your representative. Well, Volin, come ask me because you know Volin. I tell Volin, tell the Prime Minister, if I was the Minister of Finance, I would have done get more than one playing field, I would have get two. Volin called him and tell him that. He asked her if I said that for true. She said, yeah, I don't tell lie. That's what my representative tell me, and that is the truth. That is what we've been talking about. And I could spend all night telling you, but that is not what we're here for. It is an open secret of the abuse and disrespect that I have tolerated in the interest of my constituents, the party, and the government. But like I say, to be right too soon is to be wrong. And so I've made sure that I spend time to make sure I'm right. I am told that tolerance is the highest of all the virtues. And so I have exercised great tolerance at trying to get a fair deal for my people. And I've done a lot of good things in my constituency. Just look from Shadwell to Trinity. Look at what has happened in the development. Look at Shadwell. Shadwell is a place that nobody used to go. The development, the improvement in water and roads and all of that. Look at all of that. That is what happened in Shadwell. Shadwell is a nice community now. A lovely community. Under my stewardship. Look at Buckley's. You know how people used to talk at Buckley's? Buckley's is a place now where everybody wants to go. Look at the housing development in Buckley's. In Limekeel. And my housing projects stand tall among housing projects in St. Kitts. Look at all of them. The model. And I have fought tooth and nail. They didn't come easy, you know. They didn't come easy. It's a lot of fight. A lot of struggle. But I, in my cool, calm, quiet, unassuming and collective way, I just go about doing my business. My partner there could tell you about when I distributed papers for land in Buckley's. People gone up to pay for the lands, and the papers were taken away from them. In Buckley's. So that is what you must know about this public knowledge. All those, yeah, partner. All those things. And so I want to say that I have done a lot of good work without bragging about it, without talking about it, cool and quiet. Just look around the constituency. I have transformed West Bastille. Go in every constituency, in every community, and you see the work that I have done. And don't talk about the national scene. Could have done a lot more. Don't talk about the work I've done in things like in education. Thelma spoke about the white paper. Don't talk about what I've done about UNESCO. UNESCO is now a household word in St. Kitts. Before my time, UNESCO was something people hear about occasionally. I brought the president of UNESCO here to St. Kitts for the first time. UNICEF. I was chosen by the ministers of social development. And in fact, speaking of social development, today I was called by a constituent of mine to tell me that the Minister of Social Development, Lashley in Barbados, sent a message and a telephone number for me to call him. I was chosen to go to the UN several times to represent the Caribbean and UNESCO in the region. Me ain't talking about a rotational chairmanship, you know. When you come the chairman because it's your turn to come the chairman. I mean choosing you as the most capable person to do a job. UNESCO came here, UNICEF, and asked the cabinet what they said about me. So on the national scene and on the constituency level, I have done great work. Nobody could contradict that. Our people understand that. And that is why they continue to show me love and respect. And nobody could do anything about that. I am extremely grateful to all my people, all my constituency. Love I love you all too. Love you all. And nobody could change that. Love you all.
Comrade France is going to be replaced.
I am determined that my legacy to the land of my birth will show that I use my talent, my skills, my training, my experience, my upbringing to make sure that God's people got another opportunity to work together, to live together in unity, because unity is strength. Unity, unity, unity is strength. And so the PLP Alliance is committed to a unity government. It is in this context that I pause here to offer some friendly advice, to advise 3 young men whom Douglas has named as possible candidates for the St. Kitts Labour Party. Douglas said he got 3 men to run up here, and he couldn't remember one of them name. What the fella name who gonna run again? How embarrassing. The man playing games with our people, our young people. And I want to warn them, do not sacrifice your promise and your potential to satisfy Douglas's lust for power. Douglas wants to use you all to continue to hang on to power. I want to warn those guys. All you guys, the 3 guys he named, he couldn't remember Oswald France, but Oswald France, Conway Maynard, and Jason Hamilton. I want to say to those guys, do not allow Douglas to destroy you. Like how he has destroyed the Speaker of the House. Douglas is intent on destroying young people in order to hold on to power. Do not do that. And I want you guys. And so that is what I want to say to you. And for example, Jason knows that Douglas has no use for him, you know. If Douglas wanted to help Jason, to support Jason, he would have taken my advice after the last election. When I went to Douglas, it was Timothy, Asim, Douglas and myself. 4 of us met. Once he came back from his, where he went? Libya. He and Asim went to Libya, me know what they went for. But when they came back and we had a meeting, we sat down. I said to Douglas then, I said, Mr. Prime Minister, I believe it is time to freshen up the government. I believe you should bring in Jason Hamilton in the parliament. And if he wanted to do that, he could have done that. He could have brought in Jason as the Attorney General then. He could still have brought in Patsy from Nevis, like what he has done now. But Douglas is not interested in doing anything right. Once he could do it wrong, he will do it wrong. Because he could have done that. He didn't like Jason. He could have done that long before. Didn't want Jason. In fact, we in West Bassett tried to get Jason co-opted on the executive of the party. We recommended Jason to be a co-opted member. Douglas said they didn't want him. Douglas, Assay, Marcelo, Cedric, all of them. Nigel, they don't want. Jason, he knows about it. So if he was genuine and sincere about Jason, he could have done that long time. Jason could have been in parliament since 2010. Could have been in parliament. But he didn't want Jason. But now he's trying to use Jason. Guys, you all have tremendous promise. Do not destroy that and lose your credibility and your self-respect by lining up with Douglas. Douglas is a spent force. Douglas will lose the next election. And anyone who join him at this time will lose their credibility and the respect of the nation. And so I want to warn you all. I want to say to you all, if we continue to live in the past, feeding on the desire by some to recount disappointments, abuse, and indifference, we can only hurt ourselves and generations yet unborn. It is said that when you get stuck in the past, it is always at the expense of the future. We have blindly supported the Douglas regime that has corrupted our systems of democracy and good governance. We have an opportunity at this time. We have an opportunity to redeem ourselves. So say yes to unity. Be a voice to the voiceless. Break the cycle of silent suffering. Unity begins with you. And you. And you. And you. And you. And you. And you. Unity begins with you. And your future begins now. One love. Power to the people.